Hi, and welcome to this playful little inversion practice. Now, obviously, you do not have to go upside down if you do not wish to. It can be just fun playing with the actions that are required. It's really good for waking up the shoulders, working on our core, working on our drishti, our focus, and even our breath control and where we send the breath. So grab yourself a couple of blocks and a chair, and come into child's pose with the arms extended and your hands resting on your blocks. If you need a cushion or another pillow for your head or a block, please take that. I've got my knees close together. If that's uncomfortable for you, feel free to take your knees a little wider. And then make sure that your arms are extended, the elbows are straight, you're really reaching out through the fingertips. We're starting to really wake up through the body, through the upper arms especially. And then can you create the action of pressing down into your blocks? So you start to wake up these muscles in the armpits, the front of the chest, the latissimus dorsi. And then breathe into your middle upper back. So feel the rib cage expand. And as you exhale, feel the rib cage soften in. And just a couple more breaths like this. Keep that action of pressing down into your blocks. Good, one more. And then do the opposite. See if you can hover your hands away from the blocks without bending at the elbows. So really reach through the fingertips. Good, see if you can lift the arms a little higher. Reach out through the arms. Keep the elbows straight, holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Release the hands back onto the blocks. Give your shoulders a little wiggle. Rise on up to tabletop with your hands on your blocks. As you breathe in, push the ground away. Spread your shoulder blades wide on the back. As you breathe out, sit your hips back towards your heels. As you breathe in, draw the center of the chest through, but you're going to stay with the hips on the heels, so a little thoracic extension. And then the exhale, rise back up, tabletop. Let's do that again. Inhale, round your spine. Exhale, sit your hips back to your heels. Inhale, thoracic extension. So think of pulling on the blocks as you draw just the sternum through. Keep the back of the neck nice and long. And then rise back up. Use that pulling action on the blocks again. Inhale, round your spine. Exhale, sit hips back to heels. Pull on the blocks as you draw the center of the chest through, finding thoracic extension. And then exhale, rise back up. Let's do one more. Inhale, round. Exhale, sit it back. Inhale, draw the center of the chest through. And exhale, rise. Keep pushing down into your blocks. Tuck your toes. Come up into downward facing dog. Now imagine that action that we had in our child's pose where you were trying to lift the arms away from the blocks. Can you recreate that now? Obviously the arms aren't going to lift, but it's just going to wake up the upper shoulder, middle of the back a little bit more. And if it helps, you could even, pull the weight into one arm, lift the arm away so you feel that action. Place it down, try the other side, and then see if you can recreate it through both arms. Take a breath in, raise your right leg to the sky. Now try and draw your left hip crease back and lead from the inseam of your right leg. So starting to really wake up the hamstring, the glute a little more. This is really important. Push with your hands and then see if you can knit the ribs down and in. Take one more breath in. Exhale, need to know, step it between your blocks. Rise on up, crescent warrior. Take a soft bend in the back knee. As you exhale, straighten out the legs, dive your chest forward, arms fly back behind you. Breathing in, bend into the front knee, reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, straighten the front leg, arms fly back. One more, inhale. Exhale, arms fly back. Plant your hands back onto the blocks. Push into your blocks. See if you can round your upper back a little bit more. Protract your shoulder blades. And then see if you can lift this foot away from the floor. And it may not lift.
See if you can hug the thigh bone into the socket and then sweep the leg back to your three-legged down dog. Release the foot to the floor. Take a moment, observe the changes between the sides of the body. Breath in, left heel leads the way as you sweep it to the sky. Now draw that right hip crease back. Think of tailbone lengthening towards the heels. Push with your hands and knit the front ribs in. Exhale, knee to nose, step it between your hands. Rise on up, crescent. Again, soften through the back leg. Straighten out the front leg as you dive the chest forward. Pyramid variation. Breath in, come back to your crescent. Straighten out the front leg, dive the chest forward. Push down and forward through the front leg. Now pull through the front leg to bring yourself back, crescent. One more time, dive the chest forward, pause. Hands come back onto your blocks. You're welcome to turn them up a little if you need to. Press the ground away, spread your shoulder blades wide. Almost feel like you're pushing your hands apart on your blocks. Now try and suck that left leg into the socket. See if you can get it light. Ooh, and then sweep it all the way back. Three-legged down dog. Release the foot to the floor. Take a breath in, push the ground away. Breath out. Leading them with the right heel, inhale, right leg to the sky. Knee to nose, step it between the hands. Rise on up. This time take the arms above your head and pull the fingertips back so you've got active wrist extension. Press up towards the sky a little more. Now think ribs down and in, tailbone lengthens down, so you might have to soften the back knee. Keep all of this, lean the torso forward and lift the back leg up, warrior three. Same action through this standing hip. Right hip draws back like our three-legged down dog. Ribs knit in. Push your hands into an imaginary wall in front of you and reach your foot to an imaginary wall behind you. Slowly land the toes, reach up. Plant the hands, push into their blocks. See if you can suck that leg into the socket. Sweep it back. Release it to the floor. Second side, push the ground away. Left heel leads the way. Keep thinking right hip crease back as you do that. Knee to nose, step it between your hands. Rise on up, take the arms above your head. Pull your fingertips back, really work for that wrist extension. Push the arms up towards the sky. Usually as we do that, the ribs will flare. So now can you knit the ribs down? Lengthen your tailbone down, soften the back knee to do that. Keep all of this, lean forward, lift the back leg up, warrior three. Now think that left hip needs to pull back, right hip rolls down. Find that connection to your inner thighs. Land the toes, plant the hands, push, spread the shoulder blades wide. Let's try and suck that leg away from the floor as you sweep it back, three-legged down dog. Release the foot to the floor, come down onto the knees. Let's take a moment to roll out the shoulders. We'll move the blocks out of the way. Now, if you want, you could do this next bit set up against a wall just so you have that support when we play with kicking up. Come up into downward facing dog. Same little flow. Right leg, sweep it to the sky. Think left hip crease back, ribs knit down, push the earth away. Knee to nose, step it between your hands. Rise on up, pull the fingertips back, find your active wrist extension. Lean the weight forward into your horizontal handstand. Ribs knit in. Push the arms away. Slowly step it back. Arms reach to the sky. Plant the hands to the floor. This time sweep your right leg back and up. Bend into this left leg and see if you can play with some little hops. Keep that right leg really strong. The inseam of the right leg leading to the sky as you push the ground away with your left foot. Nice. Downward facing dog. Other side, left leg sweeps up. Right hip crease draws back. Need to know, step it between the hands. Rise on up, reach the arms up, pull the fingertips back. Push up to the sky, lean forward, and then lift up. Warrior three. Imagine you're pushing against a wall. Slowly land it back. Crescent. Hands plant to the floor. Sweep the left leg through and up. Push the ground away, bend into your right leg, and then some little hops. So you don't have to kind of aim for the handstand. Just aim for kind of getting the foot away from the floor, feeling that weight transfer into the hands. Good. Downward facing dog. Then knees to the floor, take child's pose. Rest the arms, the shoulders. A little rock of your hips, a little rock of your head. And then roll on up and grab one of your blocks. And squeeze the block with your hand. So carve your pinky side of the hand into the floor. Squeeze on tight to the blocks. And then take the elbows, wedge them down and push out. So you've got two actions, pushing out and squeezing in. Squeezing in with the hands, pushing out with the elbows. And then tuck your toes, press down and up. Lift your hips to the sky, and now recreate that action we had on the blocks. Try and push forwards with your arms. So your arms are pressing into the floor and forwards. You're sending your chest closer to your thighs. And you might just stay here. Dolphin is a great prep for any inversion, and it's a great way to build some shoulder strength. You don't even have to kick up. Or you could play with floating one leg to the sky, seeing what it feels like to lift one leg. Notice you'll have to push into one arm a little bit more to offset that. Try the other side. Or if you're feeling like you've got a little bit more courage, maybe little switch hops. And again, you're not trying to get to pincher. You're just trying to play with taking the weight into the forearms. A little bit of courage to switch, change the legs. Nice, and then lower down. And again, take child's pose. Take a little breather. And slowly roll on up. This is where you're going to need your chair. If you don't have a chair, you could use the wall. Wall is great for finding that L shape with the body. Now it's easy to cheat with this L shape. So really try and feel the weight over your hands as much as possible. If it feels like it's back from your hands, then you know your hips are not over your shoulders. So you kind of measure by sitting and working out where your feet are going to land on the chair, and that where your hips are is basically where your hands are going to be. So then spin yourself around, plant your hands down, grip the floor with the fingertips, and lift up into a little short down dog. Put one foot on the chair, push down into the chair to lift your hips up and plant the other foot on the chair. And this is where you may need to adjust. So it should feel like you're about to topple over your hands. That's when you know that your hips are over your shoulders. And you might just stay there, really pushing the earth away, gripping the floor with the fingertips. Or you can play with extending one leg to the sky. Think of drawing the leg that's on the chair, that hip crease back a little more. And then switch sides, reach up. Pull the hip back, reach up through the toes. Good, release. And then feet to the floor. And take a moment, either in child's pose or in your Virasana. You might stay with that variation, otherwise we'll give dolphin a go. Same thing. Grip around your block, elbows to the floor. Same action, you're pressing out with the elbows as you squeeze in with the hands. Lift your hips up. Put one foot on the chair, push down, and let that pressure down bring you into your dolphin. It's much harder to find the shape in dolphin, much harder to get your hips over your heels, because for most of us, we're going to want to go into a bit of a banana back. So now can you try and knit your ribs towards your pelvis a little more? You might just stay there pushing really firmly down through your feet so it stays connected to your core, or you could play with lifting one leg again. Push down into the leg that's on the chair. Keep trying to push the ground away. And switch sides. This is building a lot of strength and awareness for the inversion. Nice. Release. And come down off the chair. And again, child's pose or Virasana. Give the shoulders a little roll. And then flip yourself around. And just take your feet up on the chair. And take a little rest and waterfall to finish off. So a nice short practice just to give you some awareness of the engagement that's required, the core strength, the position of the legs, position of the torso. So with even without kicking up, you can build a lot of strength, a lot of awareness, negate a lot of the actions that we find ourselves in day to day, just from postural habits, and the fact that we sit so much. I think of the inversion practice almost like that antidote to all of our sitting, to all of the rounding forward. Just let yourself rest here as long as you need to. Have a beautiful day, yogis. Hari Om Tat Sat.